Alright folks, this is going to be a quick lesson today, and really what we're going to be looking at is how science continues to change over time. Science is not just a set theory. It can be proved, it can be disproven, and it will change over time. Most scientific principles have plenty of proof or confirmation. Scientists typically conduct experiments, and from those experiments they make observations. However, sometimes scientists will change their explanation for why that observation occurred as it did. Scientific principles, they can be changed if new evidence is found that doesn't support those old theories. For example, several hundred years ago, or a few hundred years ago rather, doctors would actually treat hysterical women with something called rest, meaning that they would actually go into like a sanatorium and simply rest, not be able to do anything, not read, not have visitors. Instead, they could only rest, and that was supposed to treat their hysterical tendencies. We now know that this isn't true and this isn't effective. Now, treating hysterics or any psychiatric problem is more likely treated with medications. There are many old medical practices that we do not currently utilize today. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail because I want you guys to take the time and actually do a little bit of research on these old medical practices that I'm sure you'll find very fascinating. One of the first is bloodletting. This, although it was typically done by a doctor, could have been done by a barber as well. And essentially what it was, doctors at the time believed that if you were ill, it was because you had bad blood in your body. So the doctors would actually make an incision and let you bleed for a while. This was actually a very risky practice, and there were many lives lost because of this, but many doctors thought it was the best option. Now, however, we know that bloodletting actually causes more harm than it does good. Another old medical practice was lobotomies, or taking out large portions of the brain for psychiatric issues. Again, we know that this is not a great solution. Very rarely now will doctors perform lobotomies, sometimes for young children who may have seizures, but typically psychiatric issues are resolved better now with medications. Trepanation, or the drilling into the skull, was used to treat headaches and other pains. Doctors also used leeches in the same way that they would bloodlet to remove bad blood. Some doctors used insulin shock therapy, meaning that they put so much insulin into the body that the body would actually go into shock, and this was again to help with psychiatric issues. We now know, however, that this is really not a great practice. And one of the most interesting was that some doctors actually would prescribe cocaine for anxiety and depression. Again, cocaine is now an illegal substance and definitely not prescribed for anxiety and depression. We now have other medications that are more effective for that treatment. The reason I wanted you to see this today was really so that you would understand that science changes over time. It's not a set series of practices or a set series of facts. Rather, science will change as new evidence becomes more available. I want you to just realize, however, that science can influence society, but the reverse is true as well. Society can also influence science, or what science is or studied. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions regarding this really short lesson, please let me know. Come see me as soon as possible, and I'm anxious to see your evidence for this week. Have a good one.